What is Immanuel Prayer? Let's start with that.
Well, Immanuel Prayer is based around the word Immanuel, which means God with us. And throughout the Bible, God has promised numerous times that he will always be with us. Matthew 28:20 says, Jesus says, and be sure of this, I'm with you always, even to the end of the age. And Immanuel Prayer is simply a way of engaging with the reality of that promise, both now and in the past, and as we move forward. So the primary aim of Immanuel Prayer is intimacy with Jesus and seeing this develop throughout our lives.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. So, how does it work, Rob? How does it work?
It's really very simple, actually. It's completely Jesus led. It is very, very safe. And the way we've been doing it, the way we've learned it and been trained in it, and the way we do it is that it's a one-to-one thing. You have a coach, and the coach's role is simply to encourage an individual to encounter Jesus. There are steps to the process where we encourage somebody to think of a wonderful time in the past when they've had so much joy and known the presence of Jesus, and then we encourage somebody um, to become really aware of Jesus' presence now
Yeah,
in the context of the prayer, and then we just say to Jesus, "What is it you want to do?"
yeah,
And sometimes he will just take us through just an intimate experience with him. But on other occasions, quite frequently, he will take us to something that's happened in the past that's kind of affected the way that we see ourselves or the way that we see him. And in that context, we actually say to him, "So where are you in this?"
yeah,
And that whole experience of finding Jesus in a memory that's caused us to get stuck or in a situation that's been difficult in our lives can actually transform the way that we relate to that memory and the
yeah,
way that other things in our lives have affected us based on what's happened there.
yeah,
And it can bring a degree of freedom that's really amazing.
yeah. So, Rob, I'm sure you've got lots of stories, but would you like to tell us a way that Immanuel Prayer has affected you? How's
Oh
it
yeah,
impacted you? Because
I
you've
mean,
been on
I
a,
encountered it. Sorry, Anna, I
sorry to
encountered
say,
it a while ago, but this is probably one of the most recent ones. I'd been through the process, the wonderful process of just having that moment of remembering when Jesus was really very present in my life, and then actually finding him in the room at that time. And he comes in the most amazing ways, just gently and tenderly and sensitively. So I just said, "Okay, Jesus, what do you want to do?" And suddenly I had a memory of being about 7 or 8 years old, standing on my school roof. It was a flat roof, it was a
the
single
roof.
story, oh yeah, about 15 to 20 feet above the ground. Now, when I was a kid in Plymouth, where I lived, there were a group of teenagers that basically, if you were young and small, you didn't want to be found alone by them. And on this occasion, I had been. And they'd taken me and they had forced me to climb onto the roof of the school. And they stood me on the edge with a 20-foot drop above the grass and made me jump. And
Oh,
I was terrified. Not only terrified about the potential for injury to myself and danger for me, but terrified about the fact that I didn't know where this was going to end. Would
yeah,
they make me do it again? Would
yeah,
it get worse? I mean, I was literally
yeah,
terrified.
yeah. And
And they
what
made me do
happened?
it. Well, they made me do that. They made me
Yeah.
jump,
And
and they
when
made
you
me jump
told
again, and they made me jump again. And so I simply said to Jesus, "Okay, Jesus, this was an awful situation, and obviously this is something that's kind of put fear in me in a way." And I said to Jesus, "Where were you?" And he said, "Standing beside you on the roof." And I just suddenly had this image of Jesus standing there holding my hand. And I said, "So what are we going to do?" He said, "We're going to jump together." And
yeah.
we did. And it was
Oh,
just a moment of, I was never alone.
yeah,
And, and it hasn't changed the event.
yeah,
It's changed the way that I perceive it. And it's changed its impact in my life. And in fact, to be honest, just last night, he took me back again to
yeah.
something that was even deeper and more substantial in that context. There isn't time to go into it now, but I've just had
No, wow.
such an amazing experience.
Yes, and I guess the sessions would be different for different people.
Absolutely.
It would be, some things would be dramatic like you've described, but some things might also be things that we haven't thought of that seemed relatively minor at the time, but have had an impact.
Yeah.
That's really great to hear, Rob. Thanks for sharing. It's always hard to do that publicly. Thank you. So, can I just ask a couple of questions together? Is it a one off session? And for all of us listening who don't know what Immanuel Prayer is, who are hearing about it for the first time today, could we have a go? How would we do that?
Okay, we can have a one-off session, or if you have the one-off session, you think actually this is good, I want more. We can then fix up to do
Yeah.
more and more and more. So there's an option. So it's open to whatever people want. The
Yeah.
simple way to get to it is on the website.
Yeah.
On the prayer page, there's more
Yeah.
info about it, which explains the background to it a little bit. And there's an email address. It's immanuelprayer@7vineyard.org, and that will get through to me. And then we've got a great team of people who've been training to do this for well over a year, and we've been practicing on each other, and we've been monitoring each other, and we want excellence with this, and we know that this is safe and wonderful. So what will happen is, if I get an email with a request, I can find one of the members of the team and put it to them, and they'll get in contact.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Thank you.